Right, all right, all right. I know I'll get the chat up in just a second.
Well, it's certainly not going to be all left.
Nope. GCM and Uncle Steve, good morning, guys. Good morning. So, let's talk about some stuff. And good morning.
Good morning. Indeed.
Get you just a little bit more space there.
No, I'm good. No,
Okay.
See, I'm good. I had a nice tight picture, and you just had to go and dick with
I
it.
fixed it
Sure.
by returning it to its original. I had to guesstimate the original shot.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I got cameras rolling in the garage right now. They're undergoing stress tests with new batteries and new SD cards.
No, I didn't. The garage was closed and locked.
Yes, because there's like
Because there's
a
cameras.
shitload of money running in there.
Yeah, get doing stress tests.
So, Fox fired Tucker.
Yeah, and of all the things...
And then, you know what they said? Oops.
You know, of all the things, it is Woke Wednesday. I was gonna ambush you on air and try and get the audience to agree with me that we should do like a mini review of Picard season 3. We could talk about how the Mandalorian fell off and all that, and
yeah, a whole season. The Mandalorian was just a whole season of walking and some chick that looks like a dude.
And yes, the very handsome
Not an
woman.
alien.
No.
She's a very handsome woman.
A very handsome woman. I don't
Yes.
even mean that as an insult. Like, she's very handsome.
Like if she was dating your daughter, you wouldn't notice.
And then, of course, like, there's all the stuff with Crowder. I really wanted to get into the thing with Dave Landau, but no, of course. We've got to talk about Tucker.
Right.
Like, what?
And, you know, Steve makes a good point because Bongino was asked the week before, and he says Fox doesn't want any pro-Trump influence, it seems. And that's something we've talked about on the show before, the whole anti-Trump movement within the Republican Party nominally and the conservative movement more broadly. There is a never Trump movement. And there are guys who were never Trumpers who changed their mind, like Eric Erickson. Eric Erickson was a never Trumper going into Trump's election. And then when Trump ran for re-election, Erickson said, you know what, guys, I was skeptical. No, Eric, you were a little more than skeptical. You were downright, you were dismissive at best. But he's done great, and I'm going to vote for Trump this time around. right? So you had some Never Trumpers who changed their minds at that point. But I want to remind you of something. Every single person, especially those who were conservatives to begin with, who going into 2016 said never Trump, were making a very significant statement. And that statement was, we value our personal opinions of the personality and the private life of an individual over our general moral, ethical, and principled positions. We find the idea, we find the question of having a personably objectionable figurehead to be a more important issue than protecting the lives of children from abortionists and mutilators. We find a personally objectionable personality in the White House to be more objectionable than the surrender of your Second Amendment rights. That is the statement made by the Never Trumper. Right? I don't care what you think of Donald Trump. His presidency, his track record was excellent. FitLife says Tucker is not pro-Trump, and that is true. He's not aggressively anti-Trump. There have been some leaked text messages that are a little
look, just to address
washy,
it,
I guess, but money says that Tucker walks in and votes for Trump when the alternative is Biden. Guaranteed.
Well, I don't know that this is so much a Trump thing per se, because Hannity's not been fired. And if there's anybody that is pro-Trump to the point of being, like, fucking obnoxious about it, well, it's Sean Hannity.
In fairness, Tucker is the draw for the younger crowd, and quite simply, Fox can afford to just wait for Hannity's viewers to die off.
Fair enough. But look, the joke is funny, and I appreciate the dark humor. I really do.
Oh, hey, but, there's Michael of Cigarette. Yeah, if you want to watch Fox News, go to a retirement home, an assisted living facility. If you want to watch CNN, go to the airport.
But as I was saying, But as I was saying, I don't think this is an anti-Trump thing per se. It's so obviously there's a whole bunch of theories flying around about why Tucker in particular. The ones that make the most sense to me are his January 6th coverage. This is done as part of the ongoing lawsuits because either Dominion or whoever the one that hasn't settled yet, Smartmatic or whatever their name is, want a scalp, and Tucker's a hell of a scalp to offer up. Hey, we fired our number one guy.
Yeah, not our number one guy.
Look. Well, from Fox News's perspective, we fired our number one guy. Okay, or Murdoch is old and wants to sell and is trying to shift the balance sheet around.
I'm on my way out. I'm taking you with me.
Well, no, it's very, very common to, when you're in a position of selling your company, you fire a small and expensive portion of your workforce. It makes the balance sheet looks better. You know, one guy making $100,000 a month or whatever Tucker Carlson was making can be enough to really alter your balance sheet. Like,
yeah, and Disney's not going to pay for Fox News so long as they've still got an important personality who opposes child mutilation.
So, I mean, that's that's really what it comes down to. I'm just saying, if we're going to have the discussion in terms of, oh, this is anti-Trump. No, it's really not, because Sean Hannity's still there and Tucker Carlson has been publicly and privately critical of Trump. Now, there's the stuff that's come out about the hostile work environment. Apparently, he told some woman, "See you next Tuesday."
Yeah, I'm sure that's a totally uncolored and legitimate criticism that has nothing to do with a desperate reach for some sort of misbehavior.
Well, I don't doubt, in all seriousness, I don't doubt that he said it. I don't doubt that anybody that can rise to the top, and let's face it, if you work for a cable news channel, you have risen to the top of a serious market that takes a lot of ego, that takes a lot of brass balls. You have to not be afraid to offend people, as it were. So I could totally see Tucker saying this. Now, the question is, and we're not allowed to ask this question anymore, was this woman behaving like one? Because there's a good chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and that speaks to the question of equality. It's like, if I'm dealing with a male coworker and he's being irrational, obnoxious, or professionally deleterious, he's in the way of doing the job, and I call him an asshole, that's not going to make headline news. It's just not. So given that we essentially have one complaint that he insulted one woman, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you probably actually were an isolated incident, which makes me even more certain that you earned it.
Yes.
Because let's be real. If he said it to her, if he was being unfair, right? If she hadn't done something to upset him enough to use that word, and there are not a bunch of other women complaining that he makes a habit of it, then it's a good bet that you were legitimately asking for it, honey.
Well, and there's a fine line. I don't know if you remember this, but a few years ago, there was this whole scandal about how Ellen DeGeneres was so hard on her staff and so demanding of her staff. At the time, Ellen had the #1 daytime talk show in the country. And it's like, okay, is Ellen kind of a bitch? Maybe. But does Ellen also kind of have the #1 daytime talk show in the country? Well, I mean, high standards being what they are. Did you ever hear the freak out of Christian Bale on the set of Terminator Salvation because the DP kept walking into the shot?
I heard of it. I never actually watched it.
I don't know that you could watch it. You could listen to it. And Christian Bale just melts down on this guy, like completely. It's like, the fuck are you doing? We're trying to work here. And the guy kind of meekly tries to explain, oh, I was just, and Bale lights him up. And to somebody that's never...
And it was the DP walking...
I think it was the DP. It might have been... It was somebody that belonged on set and had a job to do on set and was trying to do that job while Bale was filming a scene. Okay? So, to somebody that's never been in that world, it's difficult to explain... You hear it and you think, golly, this is nuts. Why would somebody act this way? And it is kind of nuts. Why would somebody act this way? However... Once you reach a certain point, and I imagine this is true for anything media related, maybe see Steven Crowder, just saying. But once you reach a certain point in anything media related, there's a touch of narcissism, there's ego, and there's people that have to be in the zone. They've got to feel a certain way, whatever, in order for them to produce their high quality product. So to act like this is not a thing that happens, that there's not swearing and name calling and anger, I suspect not just at Fox News, but at CNN, at MSNBC, at ABC's news division, at all of them, they butt heads. Hollywood studios butt heads. You can look up any number of movies right now where the director and the producer and the studio and the sound engineer were all just going at each other's throats, and yet they somehow made this amazing movie at the end of it.
Alex. Plus, I mean, if you've never worked in that world, I'm here to tell you, getting all of the cameras and sound and mics to roll and then hitting the clapboard in front of all the cameras and mics that need the clapboard clapped is aggravating every time. Every time. And if you have to start that process over because somebody just wandered into the shot, oh, fuck that guy.
Right. Right. But look, I'm just saying that of all of this story, and I guess it's a shame we spent the amount of time on it that we have, and part of that's my fault. But of all of this story, like, Tucker Carlson with the hostile work environment, like, yeah, come on, just stop, just stop. Okay, that is the least credible portion of this. It's either an overall cultural shift internally at Fox News, or Tucker Carlson was the scalp that was offered up because he was the number one guy.
Well, and it could very much be that the cultural shift at Fox News is they're tired of pretending to be your friend.
Yeah. Oh no! Look, Fox News is not your friend. We've said it and said it.
Said it over and over again.
And it's good to know that the rest of the world is catching up to that. However, I think Tucker's going to be okay. Yeah.
Well, so we've got a couple of news articles that I just want to touch on real quick. Okay, so Fox News, we kind of mentioned it earlier, but Fox News loses $1 billion after parting ways with Tucker Carlson. Now, in fairness, once it closed, they were only down $500 million. They managed to recover a little bit. But here's the thing about losing $1 billion immediately upon firing one of your big talents. This happened before the 5 o'clock slot was filled by Brian Kilmeade on Monday evening for the first time.
9 o'clock.
Huh?
Tucker was prime time, not 5 o'clock.
Okay. Anyway,
Sorry.
Anyway, yes, but my point remains. This happened before the show.
Right.
After the news of the firing and before the show. And that tells you something important. This is not the result of people turning off the television and canceling their subscriptions to Fox Nation Online, and refusing to watch the show. That also happened. But for them to lose $1 billion in market cap immediately like that means that the people who look at the numbers and say, you done fucked up, looked at Fox's numbers and the loss of Tucker Carlson and instantaneously said, y'all done fucked up. Right? That means that the high-level predictor guys who make money by being right and lose money by being wrong were so certain they were right that they just said, nope. St. Michael says they'll be able to get advertisers to come back now. Yes, they will. That is a legitimate point. And those advertisers will be coming back to a significantly reduced viewership and buying their ad time back at a significantly reduced ad rate. So yeah, they'll be able to get the advertisers back, but I guarantee you every advertiser that is currently advertising with Fox News just said, oh, you fired your entire viewership? We need to renegotiate that viewer base. We need to renegotiate that ad cost. And then and I guess we can close on this. Just so we close on a chuckle. Is that fair? Does that work?
I'm okay with chuckles.
Just in, Elon Musk offers Tucker Carlson the role of Twitter CEO after Fox News firing. So Glenn Beck has already made a formal offer of employment to Tucker Carlson, and I'm sure I don't think we've seen any numbers, but they're going to be huge. I'm sure that the Daily Wire will make a bid for him. Honestly, I would not be surprised to see Timcast make a bid for him. That would be freaking outstanding, hilarious, excellent. But imagine.
Well, they've got him under golden handcuffs. Fox News, rather. Like, they're still honoring his contract. He's basically getting paid without showing up for work.
Yeah, right. Like, he's a Democrat now. But
he's got a shut the fuck up clause in his contract.
Now, Alex says, I don't understand why people suddenly want to hurt Fox News. That's literally biting off your nose to spite your face. It's not. It's not, Alex. Fox News is a problem. Fox News is a problem because it is milquetoast, weak conservatism that pretends to be a legitimate alternative to radical leftism. Fox News wears the mask of legitimate conservatism, but they still celebrate the transgenderism. They still make excuses for it. Fox News is not a serious conservative network. It was. But now it's barely even controlled opposition. And that's been the case for some time, with Tucker essentially being the shining diamond in the rough that was helping hold that mask on. It's essentially a papier-mâché mask with one shining jewel, and they just plucked off their last bit of bling.
Anyhow, Tucker Carlson has
been offered several different jobs, and this one right here, I don't honestly know. It's hard to say if Musk is trolling, because
so okay. Is he trolling? Maybe. I suspect that Elon Musk is at least somewhat semi-permanently trolling. I think that's just part, like, the autism of that man is probably like. I suspect everything has a little bit of tongue-in-cheek in it.
I agree, and I suspect that part of what makes Elon so interesting and entertaining as a character is it's not just that he may always, at least to some degree, be trolling every time he does anything. But every time he does anything, even if it's obviously a bit of trolling, he's got the will and the capital to take it as far to the ridiculous as it can go. I mean, there's Elon can absolutely stroke the check that Tucker just says,
okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, screw. Right. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Tim was in a position of also being able to at least match whatever balance Tucker has left on his contract. So, but the role of Twitter CEO, like, okay, I like it. And man, you want to talk about just the ultimate. Elon's last little, hey, remember when I said that I'd give up the CEO position as soon as I found somebody who was qualified to do the job better than me? That's excellent stuff. And at this point, Tucker could probably just start his own podcast. Like, Megyn Kelly has largely rebuilt herself.
Yes.
And obviously it was kind of a weird winding path for her to get there. I think she really thought she was going to be like the next hot shit legacy journalist on one of the big three.
Right.
And then didn't understand that like, no, they weren't interested in her brand. They were interested in what they could do with her brand.
Right.
And I think Tucker has all that he's watched happen. And dude's already rich. Let's be clear.
He's good to go.
Like, he's fine. So, is he going to be... He's going to have to make a move, I think. He's going to have to do something, because if he's got, whatever, 18 months left on his contract, and he has to STFU for the rest of that time, he doesn't want to be silent for 18 months. Now, silent for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, let the anticipation build? Okay. But silent forever?
So I want to address this real quick. Alex, I get what you're saying, man. There is not a big network alternative other than Fox News. And that's part of the problem, is that the only big network alternative that we have, it's the same problem that we have politically. There's not a legitimate alternative to the Democrat National Communist Party.
Well, there is an alternative.
There's the Republican Party. And the Republican Party, by and large, is made up of elected politicians who are not just imperfect, but inadequate champions of the cause. Fox News is that. With, Tucker Carlson is your Ted Cruz, and even Ted Cruz, I'm a little. I've been pretty hard on some of Ted Cruz's positions, but he's not a Dan Crenshaw who's making arguments for why he should be voting for gun control laws. Now, at the same, but when you mention if we're going to go after Fox for being fake conservative, shouldn't Crowder be on the chopping block now also? So Crowder is a person, Fox is an organization. And I'm tracking that there's some stuff going on with Crowder. I'm not fully read in yet. I've got to look into what's going on with the divorce and with the Landau allegations. And I definitely see where Crowder's got caught with his hand in the cookie jar on some pretty serious hypocrisy. But that, again, he's a person. He's an individual personality, not an organization. And I understand that Louder with Crowder, the show, is an organization, but that is an organization that's built entirely around Crowder. And I'm so glad you said that, Alex. I'll get right to that in just a second. And then I'm going to put a pin in this, because otherwise we'll go back and forth for too long, and I'll miss my first contract today. Louder with Crowder doesn't exist without Steven Crowder. Fox News can exist without anybody in Fox News. And that's one of the reasons that Tucker probably had to go, because it was rapidly becoming the case that Tucker was such a big and important draw for Fox News that he was becoming their brand. And eventually it would have been that Fox News is Tucker Carlson. Now, that said, let me get back to this bit right here. Alex says the difference is Fox reaches people outside of the right-wing echo chamber. No one else does. That's just not true. That's false. I should have anticipated that comment and pulled up the data on it, but by an extraordinary margin, conservative voters, conservative people, not only receive their news from multiple sides, right? We as conservatives tend to get our news from right-wing, extreme right-wing, left-wing, extreme left-wing, and some middle-of-the-road outlets. The idea that Fox News reaches outside of the right-wing echo chamber is just false. The voting base that votes Democrat, they are psychotically dedicated to single-issue voting mechanisms or to the vote blue no matter who. They will walk out of a restaurant if Fox News is on. Fox News does not reach outside of the echo chamber. No right-wing conservative media does. That is part of the tactical advantage that the psychotic left enjoys, is that total information dominance within the sphere of their influence.
Actually, okay, Crowder being a fake conservative, I'm not sold on that. Okay. Crowder being volatile and personally hypocritical. Yeah, okay. And now that the divorce thing has come out, there's a whole lot of pieces over like the last year that suddenly have kind of snapped into place and make a lot of sense about why Steven Crowder acted the way that he did and said the things that he said, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That doesn't mean that he's a fake conservative. You can think drugs are bad.
Yep.
You can think meth is the worst thing in the world and still be fucking addicted to meth. Being a hypocrite doesn't make you wrong. So,
right.
So to say that Steven Crowder, I don't know that his conservatism.
Look, I don't want my kids to smoke.
Yeah, right. So being a hypocrite, even being a piece of shit, doesn't mean that he's not legitimately philosophically a conservative. Ironically, and this is pure anecdote, but one of the only things I've ever observed reaching outside the echo chamber is Steven Crowder with his Change My Minds.
Yes.
And that's not to say that Fox News never steps outside the echo chamber, but there's this whole subculture built into the meme war that's like, her Fox News bad, faux news, ha, and everything else about it, okay? You don't see the same vitriol come for Steven Crowder. And it's probably because Fox News was the first, they were the original counterweight, whatever the reason is. But to say that one reaches outside the echo chamber and the other doesn't, no, actually, the internet itself tends to reach outside the echo chamber. What's the alternative to Fox News? The alternative to Fox News is us. Alex, is yours and Danny's show, which has been pretty fucking excellent lately, is Timcast, and yes, is Steven Crowder. It's why they want to push us off YouTube. It's why so many people are moving over to Rumble. In fact, moving over to Rumble worries me, because that will create the problem all over again. Yeah. So yeah, to say that one reaches outside the echo chamber and not the other, my personal experience says that Tucker Carlson reaches outside the echo chamber, and to a certain extent, Greg Gutfeld as well. Just like Steven Crowder and just like Tim Pool reach outside the echo chamber. Fox News is just kind of the scaffolding that you hang a guy like Tucker Carlson on to do his thing. So,
you know, I mean, Fox News is basically, we're going to put some legs and titties up here to argue that we need to reach across the aisle and
yeah, Megyn Kelly, like it's woo.
Well, no, Megyn Kelly is not a good example for this because of the rest of the sentence. To sit up here and argue that, well, there needs to be some compromise, and we need to reach across the aisle and come to a middle ground on the abortion question, for example. It's like, no. Abortion, like people, is binary. Compromise on abortion is, look, my position is we shouldn't murder children. And the compromise position with we should murder children is, okay, only some of them. Right? And that's the kind of shit that you get there. Oh, and Alex, you're right. There wouldn't be any balance in the media without Fox News. Let me give you an example that is analogous to what Fox News has become. The unions were a great idea when they first were formed.
Yeah, they served their purpose, and the media empire itself. I mean, when you're competing for, when Tucker Carlson is the number one guy with 3 million viewers, that's nothing. Even with the NFL's declining numbers, like 60 million people watch the Super Bowl. Like, we're.
Oh, I haven't said that we'd be better off without Fox. I'm amused at their suffering. But just like the unions, when the unions came about, they were a great solution to an existing problem. When Fox News first materialized, it was a great solution to an existing problem. But they both have the same problem now. They've been infected with the blue cancer. And over time, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it is happening. I mean, look at Geraldo arguing for gun control on the 5, stuff like that. It's, it has gotten the blue cancer. So I do need to put a pin in it there because I've got an appointment. But thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.